Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 334 Washington Street here in Lafayette. We're located at the rear of the home, going through a 4-inch ABS cleanout on the main vent stack back here. It looks like it's a pass-through cleanout. We're going to go from the rear end of the house all the way out to the main lateral, pass into the crawl space in the process. Now we're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running, and now that we're at the bottom of the vent here, we're going to zero out the camera. Here we go. Now, you know, this may actually be going out the back. Alright, so here, we'll do some locates in a minute to verify this stuff, but we do have a Y connection here in the line of some sort. So I don't know if we've got like a party line connection or what this is. I'm going to mark this real quick while I'm here. Alright, so I just put a white marking back here. This is one of those that, I mean, for all I know, it could be a rain drain connection. We do have a root intrusion that's come through there too. I want to point that out here. More roots here at 9 feet. But with that Y connection in the line, that's something you want to try and verify with the city to find out if that's some type of party line connection, or, I mean, it could be rain drains, possibly. Normally, they're not a full-size tie-in like that, a big Y connection. Usually rain drain, just a small opening in the side of the pipe when it comes through. We have a tie-in there. Alrighty, we're actually up at the front left corner of the house here currently. No, that may be a rain drain tie-in there as well. And more roots here about 60 feet. We may have had some just as we went over the top of that drop there, and then now it's transitioned over to 3034 PVC pipe. Alright, at this point here, we are out into the street. Probably got about another 10-12 feet to go here. Now, looks like we have a deformation in the bottom of the pipe there. We'll take a look at that on the way out. Looks like another one there. And being in the roadway, this may be all city responsibility. You have to contact the city to find out. Alright, and right here is the main lateral connection out the street. We're going to let the line drain out completely here before reeling back in. Alrighty, line's all drained out at this point here. We're going to reel back. And given the fact that it looks like most of the street portion of the line here has been updated, there's a very good chance that all of this PVC pipe here is the city's responsibility. We've got these dings in the pipe. That one does not show any perforation. And we have this one as well here. Again, looks like it got banged up fairly well there, but as you can see, it's not affecting the flow in a significant way. You can forward that on to the city. I'm fairly certain that's their responsibility here. But at this time, those are not affecting the functionality of the line. You can see there's no debris collecting on them or anything like that. Not that it couldn't, but you'd have to be flushing something pretty large down the pipe to get it stuck on it in a spot like that. As it's still pretty smooth there, you don't have any sharp edges for things to snag on. So, wish it wasn't that way, but it's not. Especially if it's a homeowner responsibility, nothing worth tearing the street up for. And that appears to be, it's either a test or a secondary clean out up near the front of the property. But here's our root intrusion. A very, very common issue right at transitions from old to new pipe. It's a joint you generally can't glue shut, and so the roots, if you still have an active root system or tree around it, they often get back in. So a decent idea here, because we have roots at this point as well as back here in the backyard area, we've got a few compromised joints with roots coming through. I would look into doing a pipe liner. It looks like if you were to run a drain cleaner through here, a jetter or something, you could cut all those roots out of there, and then hopefully you could put a liner down the pipe and avoid digging this thing up. Either way, when you've got issues at each end, though, you should really consider doing that, because when you start doing a spot repair at each end of the line, it starts to become more and more cost effective just to fully update by liner. Alrighty, so I've located this here. It's right up by the secondary cleanout. I just had the realtor pull forward there, and you can see the cleanout if you're not parked in that area. I have a white X right next to the cleanout. We're about 3 feet 3 inches deep here. At least based on the camera is at kind of a funky angle there, but it looks to be fairly shallow, and it's easy to find. It's right by that secondary cleanout. We've got a little standing water there, nothing terribly concerning. And this type of pipe here appears to be transite concrete. It's an asbestos concrete. It doesn't have aggregate rock in it. So you only have joints every 10 feet. It's actually superior to regular concrete in many ways. And that opening there, that's coming from the direction of the house. Doesn't appear to be a party line connection or anything like that. That's probably a downspout connection. I'm going to reel the camera out for just a second here, just to clean the lens off real quick. We can have a better look at this last little bit of pipe here. The lens got gunked up when it went through the root intrusion. Alright, I got a bunch of junk that's built up right there. It's hard to say why. It might just be the way the line's configured. It's causing grease to collect there. Not a terribly thing to get flushed out. Okay, so this definitely need to get checked out. What the heck this Y connection is. We have a building adjacent to this house here behind it. Given the angle that's running at, it's possible it's a connection to that building. And out here, it's hard to say. I don't know if the city has any problems with party lines out here. But we do have a root intrusion here at 9 feet, as well as here at 10 feet. And you put some water back down the line here. I'm just having a hard time keeping the lens clean. That joint there looks good, and that one there is looking good as well. These are the only ones I really were in question. Yeah. Alright, so we've got roots at the front of the yard and at the back of the yard, looks like. Alright, and because it's right out of this Y connection, it'd be a good idea to try and get that figured out as to what that is exactly. I'm going to put an X marking right here between the two roots. Recommend a spot repair here as well. And then the root intrusion up where it transitions to PVC pipe, it's hard to say whose responsibility that is. If it's the city's responsibility from the right-of-way to the main, it's right on the border of that. So you'd have to contact them to find out how that's going to be divvied up. Alright, I put two X markings down here. They're right next to where the Y marking's at. We're trying to figure out what that Y is from. Yeah, there's a good chance that it's from a storm drain, but you saw at about 40 feet out where that looks like there's a downspout coming in. It's a different type of connection. They're usually a bit smaller and not a full-size Y. That's what just gets me concerned. It could be some type of party line in the cities. Sometimes cities don't mind them, sometimes they do. It's just worth looking into. So at about 9 feet, we have the two root intrusions there, 9 and 10 feet, and then out at 52 feet, we have a very large root intrusion that needs to be dealt with. That one's likely going to block the line up at some point. The ones back here, I don't even know exactly what they're coming from. The line is only 1.5 feet deep at 9, 10 feet out. So it's possible grass roots are getting down into there. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it can certainly happen, especially if you have a joint that's already been compromised. I recommend those corrections there. I recommend a rescope to check the repair work. But because we've got issues at each end, right back here in the backyard and then all the way up at the front, and both of these issues are under dirt. There's no, and the root intrusion up further is around 3 to 4 feet deep. No concrete to deal with. But I would still look into the possibility of doing a pipe liner. The reason that is a good idea in this circumstance is if you have a live active root system still in the ground, you can spot repair that thing all you want, and the roots will just keep coming back and intruding back to that joint. The pipe liner is a great repair system because you can put a seamless liner all the way through that area. You probably want to overlap it a few feet on each side of that section there, but that's going to seal the joint off much nicer than just putting a rubber fern coat around it. I see this a lot, and you'll get root intrusions coming back in within 6 months to a year after doing repairs like that. Anyway, aside from those two locations there, the rest of the pipe, although we have some dings out in the street, is in good condition and functioning at this time.